Hi, how are you tonight?
Hey, all is well and well is all. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm on time.
Well, I am too. I am too. We starting off on the right foot.
I know it's crazy because all of my other interviews earlier this year, I was late because of the time zone difference. And when I tell you, I was so excited. I kept looking at the time to make sure that I was gonna show up. And I know in my live I think I said 5. So I made sure that I reposted 5:30, and then that's why I pinned your comment. But for everyone that don't know, tonight with my gracious guest coming through the city, Mr. Westbrooks. Nick, how are you doing tonight?
I am wonderful, and I'm just excited as you to be here and have this conversation.
Yeah, you know what? I'm definitely excited because you're the first person on my platform that is talking about numerology and in that space realm.
Right.
Normally, I'm talking about behind the grind of working and everything. So it's refreshing to bring something new and different to the platform.
Yeah. Well, it's all connected. When I
Exactly, and that's why I'm excited.
yeah,
That's why I'm excited because it's all connected, and our energies is what keeps us flowing.
mm,
So I know, I'm not saying I'm hoping, I know that this will be something dope for the community because it's something that we should touch bases on more. It should be more conversations around, our energies and how things affect us through, our transition and everything.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And as we get deeper into the conversation, you'll see how work and numerology are connected.
Right.
Everything happens in cycles. We all have our numbers based on the day, the month that we were born on, our birthdays, and also the numbers in our name. And that gives us insights into our work and what we should be doing for our work and our purpose. So it's all connected.
Okay, so you opening the floor. We're going straight in. So, I prepared some questions because normally I just go off a conversation, but I wanted to be so prepared today because this is something that I've been wanting to tap into as well. And, we spoke before briefly through DMs about like the numbers and how it affects us and what's going on for the year. So, to get started, what first pulled you into numerology? Just to kick that off, what sparked your curiosity to jump into that side of things?
Well, it's something that just sort of fell into my lap. I had no prior knowledge or understanding or exposure to numerology. So, just so the people who are not familiar, numerology is the symbolic and occult mystical meaning of numbers.
Hmm.
It's close cousin to astrology. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, they go hand in hand. There are numbers that rule over planets and zodiac signs and vice versa. So I was already familiar with astrology, but I didn't really subscribe to astrology. And I'm going back into my teenage years. I
Right.
had a 10th grade science teacher who told the class, don't believe in astrology, it's fake, it's pseudoscience. So for a while I had that mindset, that mentality, until I attended an event back in, I think, either 2014 or 2015, and it was hosted by a numerologist. I didn't go to the event for the
Right.
numerology. I went
Right.
to the event to see one of the presenters that was on the bill. I went to go see her speak or perform or whatever she was going to do, and she ended up not coming. She had something else to do that day, and it was. I'm from New Jersey. I came all the way out to Brooklyn for this event.
Okay.
So I just hung out to see what else was happening, what was going on at the event, and the host, he did a presentation on numerology, and like I said, I've never heard of numerology prior to attending this event, and the idea that really opened my mind up to numerology and astrology, those metaphysical sciences, was when he pointed out that there's elite people in this world that are using these sciences. There's politicians, there's celebrities, there's billionaires, business people that are using astrology and numerology, and they're using it to navigate throughout their lives and to time out their business moves. And specifically, you mentioned J.P. Morgan, from
Oh,
Bank had an astrologer. I think he also mentioned Walt Disney had an astrologer. Ronald Reagan, he had an astrologer. So I'm like, if these
yeah,
powerful people are using this science, maybe there is something to it. So
right.
that's when I opened my mind to it. And the reason why I went with numerology instead of astrology was because numerology was much easier to learn.
Okay.
Astrology is really complex, really intricate. You have all of these placements, sun sign, moon sign, every planet, Mars, Jupiter, every planet has a placement. Then there's these houses and degrees and all these
Right.
things. But as one of my teachers that I learned numerology from, the way that he broke it down, he said that if you're able to count on your fingers, you're able to do numerology.
Right.
So
Well, that's
numerology can
that's
become really intricate also, but it's very easy to get started with.
right.
So that's how I got into it.
And see, I'm on the opposite side. I started out with astrology. I've always been intrigued with that part. So I didn't really know numerology was a thing until this year. And it was really talking to you because I knew about numbers and I knew about, placements and all that stuff, but I didn't pay attention as much until I started following certain accounts. And when I learned that it was an actual thing, that's what made me dive deep because it was right before we really connected. I had just did the breakdown of my birthday for my what was it, the number, the number for the year. I what is it called? You probably know better. It's when you add up all the numbers for your birthday, and it gives you that. Is it your
Like
is it the life path
that's
number?
that's the month, day, and the year, all added up together.
Okay, and then you touched on the number nine. We were in the number 9 year. So what would that be called?
Yeah, so the number 9 year, which we're currently in 2025, and we got that from adding up 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5. We call that the universal year.
Okay, universal year. Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I meant to say earlier. Not the life path, but the universal year. Well, my life path was 9, and then when we touched bases and you were telling me about the universal year, my universal year was 9 as well. So I actually started paying more attention to that because of that reason. It was just the fact that it was so many connections, like you said, with the astrology and then numerology. So it's really dope to be connected to individuals that take that seriously because like you said, it can help you throughout the transition because sometimes you don't know why you're going through things or you don't understand certain days of how it can affect you with the energies. Was that after that meeting and going to that event, is that when you really dived into the numerology, or is that something you started currently?
I didn't immediately dive into it. I started following, these individuals. So that the event that I attended, it was hosted by a brother named King Simon, and then through him, I got introduced or exposed to his teacher, Lloyd Strayhorn. So I was following those two for a while. I got their books, and I didn't really dive in and get my first consultation until 20. I think it was either the end of 2016 going into 2017 or the end of 2017. It was around then that I really started my journey by getting the books, actually getting a consultation for myself, and yeah, just really using it as a tool to get to know myself or become more self-aware. That's
Right.
really how the journey started for me.
Okay. So for those that don't know, what do you do outside of the numerology?
Okay. All right. Well, quite a few things. And this this month is actually a very busy time of the month. So my full-time profession, I'm a high school English teacher in New Jersey. Uh,
Okay.
and being in the north, we start school later. We don't start school until after Labor Day in September, so we finish later. So while everyone in Texas has been done with school, for a
Right.
few weeks already, we still have about a week and a half left of school. So I'm busy getting our first class of seniors across the finish line and graduating them. So I do that. I do my numerology content and my consultations. I have a YouTube channel where I break down the numbers, mainly focusing on the universal monthly cycles. So I do that, and then you're familiar with our mutual friend,
Yes.
Mawu
Yes.
Rue. Do some content with her. We do unread book review every other Saturday where we talk about books, which is
I definitely got to tap into that as well because you all be dropping some dope books. And now that I've gotten my schedule on track, that's something that I feel like everyone should tap into because it's always good to get a different perspective when you're looking for books to check out.
yep. And we talk about all types of books, like every genre, from business to spirituality to fiction to novels to poetry and everything in between. We talk about all of it, and we don't only talk about new releases. We talk about books that came out 30, 40 years ago. We talk about books that just came out a couple years ago. We talk about everything. So
Right.
yeah, I definitely encourage the people out there to tap in because it's definitely going to be something for you, in one of those episodes. So
Right.
we each bring a book. For each episode, we have our surprise me weeks where we surprise each other. We don't tell each other what book we're going to bring, so those are always fun. And then we have our weeks where we do tell each other what ahead of time what books we're going to.
Right.
So I have unread book review. I do that along with my numerology. I'm also on DJ the Money Coach's YouTube channel where we have Family Finance Fridays every Friday where we talk about business, family principles. We also have Bet on Black, the men, the family, the legacy, and Bet on Black, the women, the family, the legacy. So we have an all black men's panel and we have an all black women's panel. Oh, can you hear that outside? I'm
Well,
gonna let
that's
that.
why I call it Behind the Ground Live because you got
Yeah,
to get to it when you can.
yeah. I'm gonna let those sirens pass. But yeah, so I'm on DJ the Money Coach on YouTube as well on Fridays and once a month on Wednesdays. Uh, like I said, we have our all men's panel and our all women's panel, and this is just real black men, real black women talking about the issues that affect us relating to family, legacy, business. So I do that as well. So it's a
Right.
lot. It's a lot of things going on.
And the fact that you said there's a lot of things going on, I feel like that's for most entrepreneurs. So, how do you balance your high school teachings with your entrepreneur journey, especially diving into the numerology side? How do you tie all that together when you're doing like a couple of different types of things without burnout?
Yeah, right. Well, I haven't perfected that process. So, I'm still a work in progress when it comes to balancing, my career and my entrepreneurial and projects and things of that nature. But what I started being conscious of and started being more intentional about is separating, my school work from my entrepreneurial and my personal projects. So
Right.
I know that after I'm off the clock from my day job, I'm off the clock. I'm not doing any schoolwork once I get home. That's my time to work on my numerology. That's my time to study. So I make a conscious
Right.
decision and action to separate those two. And because when I was first getting into my teaching profession, I'm getting ready to finish up my 11th year as a high school
Oh, that's
teacher. So
dope.
I'm a veteran teacher, but in my
Right.
years of being a teacher, oftentimes I took work home, most of the time. Just about every day I was bringing work home and doing work after I got home. But this year I noticed that I was doing that less often.
Right.
Not work home, not grading papers when I get home. Sometimes I might have to do a little bit of work like lesson plans, but for the most part, I try to leave my day job at my day job and not bring it home.
Right.
And so that's for the evenings when I get off from work, and that's also for my weekends and for my holidays and my breaks. So I use my weekends to work on my numerology. I use my breaks, my holiday breaks to
Right.
on my numerology. So I just make sure I separate the two.
So so that means, well, I guess I'm not going to make an assumption, but I would assume that your transition into the numerology teachings and consultations, having the background as a teacher kind of helped you with that, with transferring over, or was it still like a little, getting used to?
It was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of both. So definitely the skills are transferable. And when I'm doing consultations or even when I'm doing my YouTube content, I'm speaking to people that have, just like you, they don't have any background or knowledge of numerology.
Right.
Of course I have other numerologists in my network that listen to me as well. Shout out to Queen
Oh,
B. You were on her.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love her. I
Yeah,
love her.
yep, she's one of my numerology colleagues. But most of the time, I'm speaking to people that aren't numerologists or aren't familiar with numerology. And my role as a teacher is to take these concepts and break them down to where anyone can understand, regardless of their skill level or their cognitive level. Because
Right.
classroom, I have a variety of students. I have very high performing students, and I have students that are in the middle and students that are low skilled. So I have
Right.
to tailor the instruction in a way that everybody can access the knowledge. And it's the same thing for numerology. I try to keep the concepts very simple so that anyone can understand the concepts regardless of their familiarity with numerology. But it's also a learning curve because I'm a I'm still a student of numerology. I've only been doing this for about 8 years now, so there's still a lot of concepts that I'm learning, uh, meanings of the numbers that I'm learning.
Right.
The bringing in the astrology part. I know a little bit about astrology, but now I'm starting on my journey of getting a deeper understanding of astrology, so I can paint a fuller picture
Right.
when I'm breakdowns and doing these consultations. So the content knowledge is kind of where there's a learning curve, but when it comes to actually teaching others, yeah, I definitely transferred those classroom skills over into the numerology sphere.
Okay, cool. So then you can help me with breaking down, because one of the things I did see is that you did Supreme Numerics. So what is the difference between that and the traditional numerology? Is there a difference, or is that just a term that is used amongst the greats?
Oh no, that is the name of my numerology business,
Okay.
Supreme Numerics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I try not to. I know like some there's a lot of names for the different concepts in numerology.
Right.
Uh, I try to stick with the names that are most common, so I don't confuse folks. But Supreme
Uh-huh.
is what I call my business, my offerings, and the name Supreme Numerics. I can tell you about uh, how I came to that name, the story behind that. So there's a system of numerology. There's several systems of numerology. I primarily use what's called the Chaldean system and the Pythagorean system, but you also have Chinese numerology, Japanese, Nigerian. If you're
Okay.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the five percenters, the nation of gods and earths, they have the supreme mathematics. So supreme numerics, that's kind of a play on the supreme mathematics of the five percenters, but
Okay.
it's also has a numeric origin too. So it's not just the numbers in your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Each letter in the alphabet corresponds to a number. So uh, the numbers, the sum of the name supreme numerics, those numbers add up to numbers that are in my numerology chart. So whenever you're doing something, coming up with a business name or trying to decide when you should execute a major move or plan, you should do it on a date or a number that's in harmony with your personal numbers, the numbers that are in your birthday. So the name Supreme Numerics, it corresponds or it's in harmony with the numbers in my birthday.
The fact that you say that is something I was thinking about all week, and that's one of the reasons why I geared my market Monday towards what I geared it in aligning, because today is the 18th, which breaks down to
Right.
9. And I thought that today was a really dope day that we ended up doing this because um June is a number 6. My numbers are 3, 6, and 9. So the fact that today is so the fact that you say that, it makes me feel really good about how I schedule out my stuff. And in the beginning, I didn't really think about it, but as I started getting into the numbers and working out through this year, especially with like certain times and the I call them angel numbers. I know, like, depending on what side of the spectrum you're on, it's going to be different. But I was looking at the time that we scheduled our interview and the day, and today is a 9, which is a number for me, and it's
Mhm.
the 9 is, well, when I was talking to Taylor B Media, she was telling me that I was hearing her talk about 7 being an ending, and I've always known 9 to be an ending as well.
It
So I felt like this was a good cycle of closing the old energy and bringing in new energy, because we're talking about the numbers and we're having a discussion around how they can affect you and go moving forward. A lot of people can work with numbers,
Mhm.
and I think that's really dope. So how do you feel about numerology in the urban setting? Do you feel like, as the urban community, we don't really dive into that type of stuff because of scarcity, or is it just being open minded to it?
Mhm. Yeah, well, first I would say that yes, nine is all about endings and bringing things to completion. It's clearing out the old so you can welcome in the new. Because in numerology, it's a 1 to 9 cycle. So once you get the 9, it starts over at 1, and 1 is new beginning. So you have to let go of the old so you can welcome in the new for the number 1. But yeah, I think it's an open minded thing. But as we're coming into this age of awakening, especially since 2020 clear vision, I think
Absolutely. hopefully.
I think although a lot of people still aren't familiar with numerology, I see more and more people embracing it and becoming conscious and aware of the science. And even in that, even in the urban communities, you know, more and more people are becoming more spiritually attuned, uh, embracing the metaphysics, spirituality. So while yes, it's a lack of exposure and awareness, I do notice more and more people are embracing and becoming aware of these sciences.
So what is something you've noticed or something that you've done that you've seen change someone's perspective of how they view numerology and utilizing it to help them within themselves of moving forward with life?
Hmm. Well, yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. You know, because normally, I only have these conversations with individuals who are, you know, open minded to hearing about numerology.
Hmm.
I don't really get into debates with people and try to
Right.
get try to convince them to believe in it. It's like, all right, if you don't subscribe to it, you know, oh well. But I was having a conversation recently with a friend. You know, sometime I answer her questions and tell her about her numbers, and just the confirmation that not only her but a lot of people I've had conversations with, uh, just the confirmation that they experience after I tell them about their numbers really opens their eyes. And it's not like I'm telling them something that's super broad, super generic, that can apply to everyone.
Right.
It's people tell me it's so it's so accurate, it's scary, you know,
Right.
and it's gotten to the point where I'm telling people about their numbers, and now they're telling their friends and family about it. My friend Heaven that I was just referring to a moment ago, she told me that she was sharing this information about numerology with her family, and they started calling her a witch because
I get
because
that a lot.
but
Yeah.
But she said after a while, now they're starting to ask her questions about it. Like they're
Right.
get into it. So there must be something to it if it's so accurate that it scares people and people are becoming curious about it.
Right. And that's funny because my next things was about misconceptions, and I was going to ask you what is the biggest misunderstanding about having numerology and using it as a tool.
Mhm.
And the fact that you said that, some people look at it as witchery. Is
Yeah,
there any other things that you've came across while doing this?
yeah. I would say the one other thing is that numerology doesn't predict the future. It's based on it's based on patterns. So this is a very ancient science. So numerology is just as old, if not older, than numerology, than astrology.
Right.
So it's based on observable patterns over time. So when we so if I tell you, for example, the number nine is about endings and bringing things to a close, and it's connected to destruction and war on the negative side, and dreams manifested. That's based on these ancient people observing nature and observing people for hundreds and thousands of years and seeing these patterns repeated over time. And so it's not predicting the future, it's just give you insight based on what's already happened previously.
Right.
So it's not telling the future, it's just giving you information based on patterns and cycles,
Right.
repeated cycles.
Okay, cool. Okay. So with that being said, where do you see Supreme Numerics in the next 3 to 5 years? And how are you building towards that vision?
Sure, sure. So Supreme Numerics, although I've been practicing numerology since about 2017, I didn't start doing the content and start offering my services until August of 2024. This
Okay.
past August. So in the next 3 to 5 years, I see myself building the business side of it more. So I have the business name, I have a website, but I want to, I guess, become more, not more professional, but get more of the business things in order, like becoming incorporated, getting a professional email, things like that.
Right.
Those are like the first things that I want to get. I want to get established. I still need to get your book on building a business on that shoestring budget,
Yes.
because that's
So
what
the
I'm
thing
working with
about
right
that
now.
is it's coming out at the end of this month. That's why I love Behind the Ground Live, because you're able to talk about things as they happen.
Right,
And a lot of the things that's been happening to me, I speak about it. And a lot of times I prophesize what I'm doing before it even happens. So I may say something about doing things, and God may be like, this is not the time for it.
right,
So when we talked about it, I kept pushing. And I believe in divine timing,
right,
and the fact that the magazine and the book is like all coinciding together, and they're all dropping at the same time. Today it was an ending of stagnant energy, an ending of procrastination. So I just felt like, I had to get through all the things before I could even get to where God wanted me to be. It was so many things that I've seen throughout the past couple of months that led me to this point. So the fact that you said that is the fact that I know that I'm on the right path, because I was just telling my sister, I was like, I have to make sure that the edits are where they need to be, because I ended up doing a workbook with it so that it's easier to, for you to journal through the process.
right.
And my thing is, you each one teach one. So the things that you may gather that I didn't go through, you're able to help someone else.
Mhm.
So I'm that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I bring up your book because I know that a lot of these things I need to put in place, they take money. It takes money
Right.
to get yourself incorporated, and it takes money to hire an accountant to tell you which type of corporation you should set up. LLC, S corp, C corp.
And I'm
All of those.
to be honest, in the beginning, the S corp and C corps, they don't even apply to us. When I tell you, when I first got started, I did I just did a regular LLC. And when you think about, well, considering how you have all your stuff structured, it probably would be a different approach because you already have something going. A lot of people don't have that. So, the S Corp, C Corps are kind of like your parent companies, and then it breaks itself down. So when you get into stuff like that, yes, you definitely want to get with someone, because that's things that I did not know when I first got started. But now that I know, it's easier. And
Right.
that's why I got the How to Build Your Business on a Shoestring Budget, because it's not as much as people think,
Hmm.
unless you, like you said, you don't know. A lot of times people structure their business and then they have to go back and redo everything. That's where the cost comes in, because you have to redo everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely have like other things that I want to do. Along with Supreme Numerics, I have other projects and other things I want to do. So I gotta take into account, those things too. Like I'm not gonna mention those right now
Right.
because it's
Right.
you know too
Oh,
early.
trust me, I get
Yeah.
it. I totally get it. So for now, what are some offerings that you're um producing to for those that don't know, what are some services that you're offering right now and some things people can, tap in with you with?
Yeah. So aside from the content, the YouTube content that I do, my consultation services, I offer three tiers: a 15-minute, 30-minute, and 1 hour consultation. And with those consultations, I when you book, I have you send me questions, maybe about 3 or 4 questions that I answer using the numbers in your birthday as well as your name, and to give you some examples of the types of questions or the types of topics. They could be questions about, maybe your purpose, maybe what you should be doing. I just did a consultation last night. That question, the overall question was am I doing am I on the right path? So
Right. Okay.
I looked at the numbers in the birthday and the name, and I helped that person answer that question: is she on the right path? So questions like that, maybe questions about relationships, questions about business, questions about health, um,
Oh,
questions.
okay.
Yeah, so it covers a wide range of areas, uh, you know. So that, and then for my 15-minute consultation, that's a pre-recorded consultation. So you send me your questions, I'll record a video, I'll take some notes, I'll send you the recording and the notes. For my 30-minute and my 1 hour consultations, we actually get on a video call and I
Okay.
record, so we can dialogue. So if you have follow-up questions, I can answer, your follow-up questions. And then after the session is over, I send you the recording of, our session or our meeting, so you can play it back whenever you need to. And I send the notes as well. So that's pretty much what I offer. Those three tiers for the consultations, and then I'm always open to collaborating on numerology as far as putting out content, doing, YouTube videos, podcasts, things like that. I actually have a couple presentations coming up. Tomorrow I'm going to be on Numeralytics, Queen Bee TV, doing a breakdown on the numerology of Juneteenth.
We
And then,
definitely tapping into
yep,
that.
yep. So that's going to be tomorrow on YouTube. And then on Sunday, the 22nd, I'm going to be running that presentation back, but it's going to be in person right here in
Right.
Jersey. So I'm going to be doing a presentation right in Newark, New Jersey. So if anyone that's listening in the tri-state area, in New York City, Jersey, you're close by and want to come and see the presentation in person, just reach out to me and I'll send you the address, the information. But I'll be doing the numerology of Juneteenth in person on the 22nd as well. So that's pretty much the scope of what I offer: the consultations and the lessons and the content, both online and in person.
Hey, my girl, how you
Yep,
doing?
there
Yeah.
you go. I see Rue in the
I
building.
know. Tapping in.
Yep,
Thank you for joining.
yep.
So before
Listen, Rue,
we,
Rue,
oh,
I did my due diligence. I shouted out Unread Book Review already.
yeah, yeah,
Put that
yeah.
plug out.
So before we get into the closing of everything, I'm working on this because I know this is something that is good for our community, and it's about the urban grind and how what does it mean personally to you, and how does your work speak to our collective evolution?
Okay, so the meaning. So if I understand correctly, the meaning of urban grind to me, and how it contributes to the overall collective evolution. Wow, wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm trying to.
Yeah,
When it comes to you and Rue, I got to get a little bit deep. I got to represent for the
I see.
culture.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, you did that. You did that. You did that. I see the urban grind. And grind is an interesting word too, especially
Because a lot of people look at it as a negative,
that's
but
what
to
I
me,
was
I
saying.
feel like when you on your grind, like you blocking everything
Right,
out. You like you're locked in. You're doing everything that you're supposed to. You're not procrastinating.
right,
You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, there's a balance to everything. Just like in numerology, there's a balance to the numbers. There's a there's positives to every numbers. There's challenges to every number. Same thing with grind, and I didn't. I was thinking I should have broke down the word grind, but I didn't do it. You know, uh, ahead of
Oh,
time.
that would have been
Yeah,
dope. Yes.
yeah, but I can tell you there's based on the numbers in the word grind, there's a positive sign, there's a challenging sign, just like you were alluding to. So for me, being someone born on the 22nd, 22 adding up to a 4, discipline and hard work are, you know, they're they're natural to me, and I'm an 8 life path too. So that's discipline and hard work also. So similar
Yep.
to
Yep.
about the word grind and what it means in the positive sense. To me, it's it's that discipline, it's that focus, it's building a strong foundation, for the future, so you can get to where you need to be, and you can fulfill your purpose, being purpose driven.
Right.
Urban grind, leaving a legacy. I'm an 8 life path. Number 8 is about leaving a legacy. So the
And
urban,
eight is a strong number. I learned that eight is a prominent, powerful number. Yes.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. So leaving a legacy. The urban grind is building wealth, and not in the way where you're being greedy, or you're being rich, but being wealthy, so you can, so you don't have to be in a rat race, and
Right.
you don't have to burn the candle at both ends, and you're building that wealth, so your children and your offspring and the people that coming after you don't have to start all over from the starting line. You can just hand them the baton.
Right.
But that's what other ethnicities and populations are doing. Their children aren't starting from zero.
Mm-hmm.
They're on what their parents did.
Right.
So that's what the urban grind means to me. It means discipline, hard work, structure, strong foundation,
I like
legacy,
all those
leaving.
words. Yes. Ruth said that I need to bring you back to break it down
Yeah.
the right. Yeah, we got to break that down because I wasn't thinking about that either. So the fact that you said that would definitely be something that I would love for the community because I've when I'm on social media, it's like I see a lot of people talking badly about the grind, but a lot of times if you wasn't on your grind, you really wouldn't be as successful as you are because a lot of people are lax in that. And when you hear everyone that is at their greatest, they were on their grind. They say that I was on my grind. So I want to bring back a positive outlook about the urban grind
Yeah.
versus
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just reminding people that there's balance to everything. Like I get it. I agree that sometimes the quote unquote hustle culture can overdo it to the point where you're burning yourself out and you're neglecting your well being and your health. But that doesn't mean that you don't got to put the work in. You still got to put the work in,
you
but
still got to put the work
work in
in.
put the work in, but without neglecting your health at the same time, and
Hmm.
your
I say a more peaceful grind. I've been
yeah.
on a more peaceful grind. And the reason why I brought that to the forefront was because when I was younger, I did work like 30,000 jobs and wake up, do it all over again, go out, party, get up, go to work. That is a toxic grind. But when you're on a more peaceful grind and you know your purpose, it's like it flows. You're not forcing yourself to do anything. You're putting yourself where you're getting rest, and you're putting yourself in the mind state of creating a routine for yourself. So that's where the grinding come in. You got to put in the work, but it doesn't have to be as hard as people think.
Right, right. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, what, like I said, the hustle culture that,
Yes.
that's been critiqued, lately on social media. Yep.
But a lot of people hustle because of, you know, poverty. A lot of the urban culture comes from poverty.
Right.
And me, myself, I didn't really witness a lot of poverty, but as I became an adult, I have been in a poverty mind state because of my spending habits and things like that. So sometimes we place ourselves in situations where our money doesn't flow the way we need to because of what we're used to, like the buying the designers and putting the putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of times people don't see that when you change a little bit of things around, the grind is not as it is with the hustle of everything, because you're not having to like be out there 24/7 getting to the bag because you're blowing the bag.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. And then, it's also what we've been socialized to believe as well.
Right.
Even there's some of us that haven't experienced the poverty mindset, but we we hustle because that's what's being shown to us, or
Yeah.
almost like we're being shamed into hustle. Like if you're not hustling, then you're not doing enough. You're being lazy. Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
yeah,
And you're right. You working smarter, not harder, learning your speed and rolling with it. Yes, because when you move too fast, sometimes you make too many mistakes. And if you move too slow, sometimes you miss your opportunities and blessings. I feel like, especially this year, I think I've been in a tug of war with time, because sometimes I move too fast and I'll be doing things, and like, especially speaking about things. I know we speak things into existence, but I talked about my book for so long to I was mainly talking about it, but it wasn't in production. So sometimes we can move fast with our words, but slow with our actions. So it kind of put us in a messed up position.
yeah, yeah. And I heard one person shout out to Malcolm from Urban X. He was talking about it can psych you out too. Like when you speak about things before you do them, and you speak about them publicly, people start congratulating you before you complete it, and then it psychs you out into thinking that it's already done, it's already completed, because people are already congratulating you on it.
And
So it's like,
then when it doesn't come, you're like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
yeah, it's a toxic cycle of talking about it, and then you get back into it, and then you've put so many expectations on yourself to where sometimes you get overwhelmed and you don't do it at all.
right,
That's yeah. So um that is like one of the things that I've been working on, is making sure that I'm not speaking things too soon. Like I'm actually putting in the work before I put in the talk.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. And what you said about moving too slow in some instances, that was very key too, because my business partner DJ says all the time, perfect is the enemy of great. And then sometimes when you're moving too slow, you're trying to be a perfectionist. You're trying to make sure that all the conditions are right and you're doing
Right.
everything right, that you never do it. And that's something that I learned or noticed about myself. I noticed that when I was first coming out with my content and my first interviews on other platforms, I was stumbling, but I was putting it out there though. I was
Right.
out there, and by putting myself out there, more opportunities started coming. So even though I wasn't as polished as I wanted to be or could have been, I was still getting those opportunities just from putting myself out there. So I definitely want to encourage everyone out there listening to, if you got something, if you got a product, you got a service, you got content, put it out there and then just refine it as you
Right.
get it out there, get started.
And that's a good point, because a lot of the things that I was able to build off of was things that I just put out there, instead of like keep editing, and then you still put it out there and you still got things that people need you to change up, or even with the experiences, you see things that you could have done better or that you want to bring. So if you don't put it out there, you're never really going to know
Right.
what you could be doing better of or more of. So that is definitely something that everyone should take in.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep. That's it. Yeah, that's the data right there. That, that's your data, and yeah, yeah. When you I had something else, but then I lost it. But yeah, yeah. Like you said, that's definitely
But
that's
that's the
definitely your
best
data
thing
right.
about going live. You don't have to worry about the
Yeah,
extra things,
right,
because
right, right.
so I appreciate you stopping through the city.
Sure.
I've been really enjoying everyone that's been coming on the platform, and just networking and connecting with the right people. And the fact that you brought a lot of great information to the table with, the numerology side of things, the urban grind of it all. I hope that everyone take heed to what is being said on the live, and I hope that you come back in the future. It was definitely a pleasure to have you on. Is there anything you would like to put out there that you haven't already said to the people in Grind City?
Well, I mean, before I talk about my stuff, I want to let everybody know that I am a resident of Grind City. I have moved to Grind City. I live in Grind City now. I am in the broadcast channel. If you haven't joined the broadcast channel, join the
You
broadcast.
are absolutely right. You are a resident of Grind
I'm a
City, and I'm
resident.
grateful. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I have moved into the city. I had to change my address.
So, well, you know what? Since you've been in the city, how have the city been treating you?
Oh, it's been wonderful. Everybody's been neighborly. I've been loving the daily motivation and messages that's been coming through the channel. It's definitely been inspiring and motivational to me to keep pushing forward.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
appreciate that.
definitely,
You know,
definitely.
it's because I feel like when I sometimes I may go quiet, but I feel like in that season, God is showing me like things that I need to put out there. So sometimes it's hard to speak when you're in a season of taking in the messages yourself.
Mm,
So when I do start, putting out that information, is because those are things that I've been through that I can really speak on. And it's things that I see, especially on social media and in real life and in real time. I feel like the encouragement that I was looking for when I was going through my things, that's the encouragement I want to give out, because we all are going through something, and it's good to have a tight knit community that can get through it together.
right, right, and that's okay that you go quiet sometimes, because sometimes the people that are listening to your messages, they need to take some time to sit with what you already put out there. In this digital age, we're so used to people
Yes.
constantly putting out content or putting out information, from artists. We expect our artists to put out their art, their music,
Right.
every month or every year.
And you
Sometimes
haven't gotten through the content that was already
yeah,
there.
sometimes
Yes.
need to go back through that stream and revisit some of what you already put up there and sit with it for a while and actually put it into action too. Sometimes
Yes.
we absorb or we consume content and then we just move on to the next thing without really sitting with it or putting it into action. So that I think that's okay that you take some quiet time.
Yeah, because I definitely I try to put my stuff in action. I do. And right now, if you all don't know, I have the Thumbing Through Adversity Challenge going on because I know right now we're all going through something, and I just don't want people to give up because when you give up, you're basically starting back over anyway. So the more that you push through, which this is something 43 learning more of. I've always pushed through life, but this year I realized that I wasn't pushing through the way I could have when it came to the entrepreneurship side of things. You can always push through and be better, but when it comes to our business and the things that we love, sometimes we put it on the back burner because we don't feel like we are able to still achieve those things when we're going through what we're going through. But my message to everyone is that even though you're going through something, the more you push through and the more you do what you love, the better you're going to feel. Because I was going through a very bad time, but my community and the messages that I put out, it made me feel better about what I was doing and the route I was taking, even though I was crashing out a little bit.
Yeah, but you became stronger in the end.
Right,
In the process.
right. Okay, well, I appreciate everyone tapping in. I appreciate you for being a resident of Grind City, stamped and approved. No, no more coming through the city. You here, you present, and I'm grateful because that's a testimony to the rest of the community that we are building. We are going to be growing strong, and as long as we stick together, there's nothing we can't do when it comes to building connections and collaborating with each other.
Absolutely. That's right. That's right. And thank you for creating this space and creating this community.
Well, you all have a great night. You have a great night, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow because well, no, that's Friday. See, time be moving so fast.
No, you're
Today's
right.
just
It's
Wednesday. So,
tomorrow.
oh, it is
Yeah,
tomorrow,
yeah.
the 19th, right? Okay,
Yes,
see, I knew it wasn't
June
crazy.
16th, everybody.
Okay, so tomorrow we are tapping in, and is that going to be on Taylor B Media TV or Numerics? Wait,
It'll be
I don't
everywhere.
don't 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 throw stones at me because I messed up that word.
It's,
But tomorrow night it's going to be on the YouTube channel, so make sure
yeah,
that you tap in to
yeah.
to the
It'll be
page. So
it'll be
you
on yeah, it'll be on all the channels. Queen Bee TV, Numeralytics, Mr. Westbrook's class. It'll be on all of them.
okay? Okay, great. I'm gonna tap in. Y'all tap in, and also make sure you. Well, are y'all broadcasting live Sunday, or you're not going to be broadcasting
Uh,
live?
no, that's just going to be in person. So
Okay,
if you're like, if you're in the area, like New Jersey, New York area, New York City area, you can come through in person. But it's not going to be. It's probably not going to be streamed live. I won't say it definitely won't be, but we haven't discussed logistics on that, so it probably won't be streamed.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other in-person events coming up that anyone in the area know about, or?
Not yet. Just yeah. Stay tuned. We might have something coming up in next month, but that's still in the planning stages. So
Right.
for now, just the numerology of Juneteenth on June 22nd, Sunday, June 22nd in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that I push that out when I cut up the this live. I'm gonna leave this live up, but you'll also see it on my YouTube platform, which is a Creative Space TV. I've been on there a little bit more. So I appreciate everyone for tapping in. You'll be able to tap in. I'm going to share this into our community channel, which is Grind City. Make sure you become a resident as well. And we'll see you all next Wednesday. Have a great night.